Hi, my name is Sean Quigley. I'm a volunteer with Pets for Vets, the national organization that helps veterans by placing them together with companion dogs that we've rescued from shelters. This program was initiated by our founder, Clarissa Black, around 2009. Our goal is to have a chapter in all 50 states. Right now, we're still a little shy of that. We have about 40 chapters around the country, but I specifically volunteer with the Cape Fear chapter. Pets for Vets in Wilmington, North Carolina, and the area around Wilmington, North Carolina. I was contacted by a buddy of mine who's a Marine veteran about 5 years ago, and he asked if I was interested in starting this particular chapter. He told me a little bit about it, and being an Army veteran myself, I was pretty interested to begin with. Did a little bit of research on Pets for Vets, and it seemed like a perfect match. Being a veteran myself, I love to do anything I can to try and help veterans. And when I found out that we work with rescuing dogs from shelters and saving a dog's life and improving quality of life for a veteran, I was pretty much all in. So what we do is we actually pull a dog from a shelter and we place the dog in one of our foster homes while we train it to be with one of our veterans. And that usually takes about 8 weeks or so. Our veterans are not aware that we pulled a dog at this point. We want to be kind of careful about that because we pay really close attention to the dog before we pull it and after we pull it. We put the dog through a lot of socialization tests. We have a trainer that's been nationally certified that puts the dog through various socialization tests while they're at the shelter. And the dog has to pass all of those tests before they're pulled. And then once they go into our foster home or with our trainer, they work with our nationally certified trainer for about 8 weeks. And that particular dog is very closely monitored at that time while they're getting training to make sure that they're going to be the best fit possible for our veteran. And during this time, we do emphasize, while we work with the veteran initially, that this is a companion dog. They're not trained to be service dogs. That's a much higher level of training, but our dogs are trained to what we refer to as Canine Good Citizen standards. That's what our trainer works towards. That's what our foster home parents work towards. And that's the status that we try and get our doggies to before they go to each veteran. But of course, there are also at times various specific items that we look for in our veterans. Our veterans sometimes want larger dogs. Our veterans sometimes want smaller dogs. They may also have some sort of a physical ailment that we need to take into consideration. But frequently our veterans do suffer from PTSD and TBI type symptoms, post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury. And we do have to keep this in mind. This is kind of the primary reason for our companion animals. Frequently our veterans tell us after we've done a match that they may have had their first good night's sleep in many, many years. It's very easy. They can just Google Pets for Vets and our website will come up, and they can go to the Southeast region, see the Cape Fear chapter, or whatever particular region they happen to live in. They can find the chapter nearest them, and they can submit an application right online. I've frequently had questions if somebody has to be a combat veteran or if somebody has to be of certain age for them to receive a dog or have certain issues to receive a dog. And I frequently like to tell our veterans and anybody else who works with veterans that if you're a veteran and you think you can benefit from a companion animal, I encourage them to submit an application. That's all we need to help them out. It's wonderful for me to see our veterans out and about with the doggies that we've placed. I think that's absolutely wonderful, and it really warms my heart to see veterans who have a tendency to isolate a lot from the PTSD and TBI symptoms that they're suffering from, the nightmares that they have. And that isolation tends to lessen a bit because of the dogs we place with them. It kind of gives our veterans a bit of a new mission to get them out of the house, to get them a bit more involved in what's going on outside of just their own home. So it's wonderful for me to see that. It really warms my heart. Again, being a veteran myself, I'd like to do whatever I can to try and improve lives of veterans. And if I can do that at the same time, while I get to save a doggie's life, to me, that's about as good as it gets.